This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by Liam Beterbiev-Smith here at the Rotunda in Liverpool. Liam, I just want to start off by saying thank you for coming back. I've had the day from hell travelling up here with the train cancellations and what have you, but you've come back and I appreciate it, so thank you.
No worries, mate. Nice one. You okay?
I'm all good, and I imagine you're good yourself, living life very well at the minute on the back of that victory against Chris Eubank Jr. Just talk about since time has passed, what have you been up to?
Same old for me. Family, kids, footy, and back in here, the gym.
Just speaking of the fight, obviously we saw the day after the fight you missed a penalty in the game you had. Not the outcome you wanted on the back of what you had the night before.
No, it was a set I was going to miss. I couldn't have had that good a weekend, but it's mad. You've got people thinking I took the penalty just because like I boxed the night before. I do usually take penalties, and I haven't missed a pen for 4 or 5 years, so I missed one the day after for my Sunday team, and funny enough I missed one last week for my Saturday team as well, so I missed 2 on the trot. But one of them things, you missed them.
You missed them. I imagine you're being taken off penalty duty very soon, mate.
Not really, no. Like I said, look, again, this season I've scored 7 penalties on a Saturday and missed 1 for my Saturday team. I don't know what I've scored on a Sunday, but I've only missed 1 for my Sunday team. Because it's well documented, it's like I've missed 2 on the bounce, but like I said the other day, at the end of the day, for my Saturday team, Newton, I've scored 17 penalties and missed 1. You don't get took off penalties for stuff like that, so I'm still on the pens, don't worry.
Away from the football talk with yourself, obviously just going back to reflect on that victory against Chris Eubank Jr. We haven't spoken since. A bit more time's passed. Just walk me through what you've made of that limited time in ring and that 4th round stoppage.
Just what I thought was that I'm not beat Chris Eubank Jr. I beat him in better fashion than people thought, but again, it was not like out of this world surprise for me. It's a surprise for a lot of people because it was a headshot and a lot got made out. I might as well not try and knock Chris out the head because it can't happen. That's what I was basically told, and that's why it's the big surprise for people. But I knew I could hurt Chris the body, and I said before the fight I can hurt him in the head. I don't think Chris can't be hurt the head, and that was the best way to answer that question.
There were 2 things around the stoppage in the coming days when people spoke about before I just want to put to you. Obviously the first one being the alleged elbow.
Mate, it's absolutely pathetic. It was no elbow. It was pathetic, and that's why it's gone quiet now. And like I say, if there was an elbow, go and file your appeal, but there was no appeal filed. It was just a load of bollocks because, again, Chris couldn't really bring himself after the fight to say the better man won. He goes to say it, you must realise, and he says, the better, he caught me with a good shot. He doesn't say the better man won. It was laughable.
Without dwelling on that one then, the other thing being is people touched on maybe Junior struggling to make the weight and how that might have affected him in the fight, and obviously you catching him with a headshot. Just your thoughts on it. Do you feel like that maybe discredited your win?
Yeah, look, it's just, where are you going to stop with these excuses? Like, what more can I do? I fought Chris at 160, like, again, I'm not going too much into the Conor Benn thing, like, that was at 157. I fought Chris at middleweight, Chris is middleweight. I fought him at middle, 160. Not a pound under, not 3 pounds under. I fought Chris at Chris's weight, not my weight. Like, Chris is at 160, the fight was at 160. It's not my fault Chris coming in at 159. The weight is a load of shit. Chris has had less fights at 168. Chris is a middleweight. I've only had 2 fights at middleweight in my whole career, so it's just, again, just clutching at straws. Just be men and just like say, you lost. You didn't struggle with weight. If you struggle with weight, you're going to lose all your sponsorship deals now because you're putting pictures of eating a chicken drumstick the day before the weigh-in. There you go.
So we do look towards that rematch now, and with that in mind, there was talk of Anfield, and then a report came out saying that wasn't possible because of the groundwork going on. Do you have any idea, is that the case now? Have you had that confirmed?
Yeah, look, Anfield's a full-on no-go now, which is a shame. It's unfortunate, and it's I'm gutted, but it just is what it is. It's the year we've got a big enough fight to go there is the year the work's getting done on the Anfield Road then, so unfortunately it's not going to be there.
Where do you think is most likely for it to land then? I imagine you get the pick of where now because you won the last fight.
Yeah, but obviously, to be brutally honest with you, I had the pick of the last one also because as it's shown, it sold, and it sold in the Northwest. It didn't sell in London, and that was probably that was why it was in the Northwest. Chris doesn't really sell in London, so I probably think the fight will be at the arena again. But the fight's got to be done yet. The fight's got to be signed and sealed and announced.
I mean, we saw, believe it was Valentine's Day when Junior announced that he was going to invoke his rematch clause. Beefy, when, from initial conversations, do you believe you will share the ring once again?
I think possibly the end of May, early June. But, I don't really care when, but I just want an announcement soon. I'm not sitting being left in the lurch. I want an announcement soon. I want it done soon. And there was a time frame on it when it needs to be done by. I'm becoming very, very close to that now. So if it's not signed, sealed and delivered in the next couple of days, then I'm going to look elsewhere for options.
Oh, so is that kind of the cut-off point then within the next couple of days that talks really need to show some form of progression, otherwise you have that option to move on?
Yeah, everyone has contracts, and I had a contract in front of me, and it needs to be done, and it needs to be done very, very soon. Otherwise, again, I'm not sitting there, getting caught my pants down. I'm going to move on with my career and look for options elsewhere.
Before we do touch on a couple of options, then just sticking with Eubank Jr, if you do share the ring once again, I know you're going to back yourself to produce a similar performance. Do you think it would be more emphatic? Do you think it would be similar?
I'll just do the exact same thing to him again, whatever it may be. But again, Chris has got the vulnerabilities now. Chris knows I hurt in the body. I didn't pull that rumour from the sky, and I've just hurt him in the head now, and he's got a lot of things to deal with now. Everything he thought has never happened has all just happened to him in one night. I've just dropped him, stopped him, threw the towel in, buzzed him. Whatever way you want to look at it, it's just all happened to Chris on one night. So I'm fully confident I'll do the same again to him.
Speaking to Joe and Deck after the fight, speaking to yourself as well, you mentioned, whether it's jokingly or not, he's down for you to answer now. You have the pick of where the fight could land in terms of a weight front. Could it be at a smaller weight if you wanted it to, then 160, say a 158, 157?
No, probably not, because I'll get slaughtered for it. I've just knocked them out at 160. They're already trying to make 160 as an excuse, so imagine me trying to do 158. But say what you want, I'm a 154 and I've just knocked them out. And again, I think it's down to you media people, all the people who thought Chris was Iron Man and could not be knocked out. It's probably just a lesson for all you lot. You get it on the right spot, no matter how big you are, how good your chin is. You get it on the right spot with sound gloves on, you can be hurt, and there was your answer.
Beef, I hope that isn't you singling me out there with predictions, because I don't.
It was everyone, like I said before, and yourself, every other media person was so concentrated on how good Chris's chin is. And again, look, the man has got a good chin, but I always said, don't think he can't be hurt, and I just proved that 2 years. But again, I think a lot got made of Chris's chin and not much got made of mine. Show me where I've got a bad chin, or I haven't got a good chin. But it is what it is, and the fight went the way it went.
That's fair enough, Beefy, and he certainly did. And just away from Junior, we saw the WBO order yourself versus Janibek. Was that ever discussed internally? I know, again, it all comes down to how this plays out with Junior, but is it still possible to explore that, or have you told them, no, we're not going down that?
No, I'm not saying no to nobody until the fight's sealed, and like I said before, that fight's been ordered to negotiate. It hasn't been put out to purse bids just yet. So, again, that's still on the table, and it's still there to be spoke about, and I'm not knocking anything back yet until I know what's right for me. I'm not knocking Janibek back and then Chris goes and fights Conor Benn, because he seems to be begging. They're begging for that fight. He's mentioning Conor left, right and centre, so whether that fight's more money to him or whatnot, I don't know, but I'm not knocking my options back, solely depending on Chris.
Do you think that's why it is? Do you think that's why maybe Junior hasn't been as vocal over social media, with the exception of a post on Valentine's Day? He's very much looking at how the situation unfolds around Conor Benn, still looking at that fight as a front runner for him ahead of yourself.
Yeah, probably. Look, I always said before my fight with him, and I feel I've fully justified what I said. I always felt the Conor Benn fight for him was a lower risk and a higher reward, and I still think it probably could be that.
Just sticking with yourself, a couple of other names in the immediate aftermath of the fight which were linked were Kell Brook. Again, we don't know what's the current situation with Kell, but also Gennady Golovkin. Have you had any other talks around those names?
No, they were mentioned, but I haven't had talks about them. I haven't had offers to them or from them. Them names were linked and mentions. And look, like I said, I'd bite your hand off for the Golovkin fight because there's world titles involved in that. To share the ring with somebody of his calibre and his status, you know, he's been a superstar in boxing. I'd bite your hand off for that, but I'd bite your hand off for that thinking I could be getting him at the perfect time. But you know, any of the names I was linked with after the fight, I'd take.
There was a lot of talk about you up at 160. Looking back at 154, have you thought about the avenues back down there?
I'm number one at WBC back down there now too. So look, if that come on the table, I can do 154. So, all being said, it's a lot tougher than 160, but I can do 154. And you know, if a world title come available at 154, I'd bet your hand off for that too.
I remember interviewing you, Liam, 2-3 years ago, and we spoke about the frustrations you had, but you just couldn't secure that big fight. You had a very good run recently. Obviously, victory against Vargas. You've got the Eubank Jr win under your belt. Obviously, the Fowler fight as well. Do you feel like it's still a matter of, for whatever reason, people just aren't giving you that credit, that call out, if you will, for whatever reason it may be?
I don't care, mate. Like I said, that's for other people to think. Yeah, I'm not bothered about all the underrated, unappreciated. Look, I don't care. Once I'm done, I'm done. I'll be away with my family and my little girl. So I don't care what people. It's gone now. Past that point, I'm 34 now. If I never got the credit for everything I've done beforehand or what I'm still doing now, then that's for them to deal with. I'm not going to lose sleep over people not appreciating me or whatever way people want to look at it. It is what it is. I can only do what I do. It's my job to stay in the gym, get fit and try and get the results that I want, and I feel like I've done that for 90% of my career. If I'm still not getting credit and appreciated, then that's probably a them problem, not a me problem. Do you know what I mean? And you know, whether they dislike me for something, then I can't change that, but I won't lose sleep over it, mate.
You say that, Beef, but I think many people in boxing certainly appreciate you. There's obviously a great atmosphere in Manchester on the night as well a couple of months back. But just moving away from yourself, Callum Smith, your brother, he was due to fight this weekend, pulled out due to injury. Can you just fill us in firstly, how's Callum doing? Yeah,
no, I think he's good. He's been to see a couple of people over his injuries, and just he'll be back when needs be. I think he's in a position now where he doesn't really need to risk anything while he's injured. So, I feel it was the right decision. It was one I had my inputs in and told him it was the right decision. Every fight is good to pulling out of a fight, and you feel you're letting a lot of people down. I'm happy for the fighters on the undercard that the show is still going ahead, but it's not where Callum risking his position in world boxing to please the undercard fighters that the bill goes ahead. Look, he's in too good a position to fight a fight with the injuries. It's not like it was a little niggle, so he'll be back, and I'm pretty sure he'll be back with a bang and in the big one, Beterbiev.
We haven't had any full details on the injury. Can you fill us in at all?
No, obviously that's after Callum's team. Obviously, I know his back's playing up a little bit, but that's for Callum and Callum's team. But he's not fighting, and it's gone now. So
obviously we're looking towards that Beterbiev fight, and we saw Eddie Hearn said that he expects to see that one negotiations rather, to begin imminently on that front. Just talk to me about the task at hand there, and how much you'd rate your brother's chances against Artur Beterbiev, especially on the back of his fight against Anthony Yarde.
Yeah, obviously, it's a fight that I think has started negotiating, but it's also a fight that I fancy Callum in against. Perfect timing, I feel. Stylistically wise, also Beterbiev's there to be it, and I think Callum's best shot is Beterbiev's biggest weakness. A very good fighter, a very dangerous fighter, and heavy-handed fighter also. So you've got to be switched on on your A game to beat him. But I'm confident in Callum in that fight, and it's a fight that we're looking forward to. It's a fight Callum chased also.
Beef, you had your campmate Josh Taylor have to pull out of his fight with Jack Catterall instead. He's going down the route of the Taylor-Lopez fight. I just want to get your thoughts on that entire scenario from your perspective.
He's been ordered to fight Taylor-Lopez, another huge name over in the States, and probably it's a shame for Jack. It's a shame for Josh. I think two of them probably want to I think two of them probably want to right that wrong, if that makes sense. But I just think, you can't blame Josh Taylor for it either. He's been ordered, he's given 3 world titles up to fight Jack. He's kept one, and that one he's kept. He's been ordered to defend against Lopez now, so, fingers crossed he can go and beat Lopez, and then the Jack Catterall fight can be made. I think Jack might be fighting Prograis, so, fingers crossed for Jack. I hope he beats Prograis, and they probably fight in a unification fight, and, it's still the biggest fight as it was then, if it's a unification fight, so fingers crossed it could play out perfect for the two of them.
Just on Taylor-Lopez, walk me through that fight from your perspective, Liam. What does Josh have to do to overcome Teofimo?
It's one of them. I think Josh has to be on his A game also. That being said, as Lopez the fighter he was, he struggled a couple of times. I was a big fan of Lopez. I'm a big fan of him, to be honest with you. I like him. I feel the right team around him, he could be a big star in boxing again. But it sounds mad because it's his dad, but his dad as his coach, I think, is killing him a little bit, and his performances seem to be justifying that. He seems to be underperforming, and at this moment in time, especially, I think it's a perfect fight for Josh Taylor. Southpaw also, he seems to be struggling with Southpaw's Lopez, so I think Lopez is a perfect fight for Josh now.
Beefy, just away from Josh, and get your thoughts on the scenario surrounding Conor Benn. What have you made on how things have unfolded in the last week or so? Just start off with the statement which was released from the WBC, where they seem to suggest that they could understand where high consumption of eggs may have been the cause of the elevated levels of clomiphene in his body, and then Conor Benn coming out and denying that in his 270-page dossier. Not once did he mention the use of eggs.
I don't know what more to say on it, mate. You know what? It's boring. It's dragging. I don't know. My point of view is, how can you go radio silent for 4 or 5 months and be so innocent? I just think they've tried their best to pull in whatever lawyers and sports science people to get round this test. From my point of view, I don't see how you can be innocent when you failed 2 tests. 2 separate tests. I just think if you held your hand up, your ban would have been up now. And I know you're saying you don't want to hold your hands up for something that you haven't done, but of all accounts, you failed a test in July, and then you failed another one months later or a month later. I don't know how they can both be contaminated, or they can both be wrong. But it just needs doing now, and needs either, look, people have their own opinion. He's guilty or he's not, but all the scenarios around it need to be just done now. Either find him not guilty and let him fight, or find him guilty and punish him whatever way he's going to punish him. But it's boring, all this, and I don't mean this against any media people, by the way, but this is just all media. It's just all what media people keep asking. It's only them who keeping it going. Do you know what I mean? Just deal with it. Either find him guilty or not guilty and let it crack on. It's boring now, all the eggs, whatever it may be.
I do understand your point, Liam, and obviously, the media is playing a big part in discussing the story, and I think it's because it's been such a huge story, and we haven't really had, nobody's outside of the teams have had any details around it. So with you as a fighter,
boring, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's boring. We just don't know. We're still all now. Everyone's going, oh, eggs, and now Conor's saying, no, wearing eggs. He didn't mention eggs. So what the fuck is it then? You come out and say what it is then. You know what it is. Whether you've done it by accident, whether you've done it, you know what it is. You've failed 2 tests, not 1. 1, you can say, okay, people have failed tests over a drink bought over the counter, what they never checked, and look, just deal with it. You failed 2 tests, not 1. Just fucking come out and deal with it, and just sort it and move on from it.
Did you watch his interview with Piers Morgan?
No, I didn't. I haven't watched I don't know, I might watch it if I'm in the house and nothing's on. I might put it on. But I'm not, there's just not, by all accounts, there's nothing new. Nothing else got said. He never mentions eggs. I don't know, but I might have a little watch for you. I might do.
Beefy, just one more thing to tie in with Conor Benn. He said he doesn't plan on going back in and trying to fight under a British Boxing Board of Control licence once again, or certainly in the near future. And there's been a lot of talk about the potential Manny Pacquiao fight. What are your thoughts on that if he was to come back against Manny Pacquiao?
Taking the drug thing away from it, Pacquiao, I think, is a perfect fight for him, as in a sense, like, it's a no-lose situation against an absolute legend, one of the best has been, who's now probably 43, 44, is he, Pacquiao? 44, on his way out. Could be perfect timing for him. But, you know, I think he's been matched perfectly his whole career, Conor. So I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to beat around the bush either. He's fought non-punchers his whole career. I think he's been matched perfectly, but he was improving along the way. But that sort of thing has just absolutely damaged and questioned everything he has done in the past. So, does he deserve a Manny Pacquiao fight after that? Probably not, but things doesn't always go the way you want, the way people want it to go, the way it deserves to go.
In the aftermath of the game, going back to your fight against Chris Eubank Jr, I saw his tweets and he said that he'd have done an even more emphatic job if he'd have been in there on the night with Eubank Jr. What did you make of what Conor had to say then?
Yeah, obviously he was always going to do something like that, you know what I mean? But like, you're welling in someone else's success, really, like, and if you're trying to discredit me, don't, because like, don't dare, because, but I don't know, I'm not going to big up a fight now and try and get people talking about me and Conor, because, you know, Eddie quickly squashed that. They've never mentioned my name once for Conor. I don't know the reason why, but don't look at it like he's done him. He's saying he's doing it for us if he's a better fighter than me. Because let me tell you right now, he's not. And if, like I say, if they want that fight, mate, my phone's still there.
Liam, just away from Conor Benn, just a couple of other things to touch on this weekend. The fight I'm sure you'll be tuning in for, Tszyu and Tony Harrison. Just your breakdown for me, please. What goes down with Mashevery?
It's a good fight, a very good fight. No, what I've been deadly honest with you, I'm probably edging towards Tony Harrison. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's very talented, slick, fluent. I think he might just have that little bit more cuteness than Tszyu. Whether he gets a decision in Australia, I don't know, but yeah, I'm probably edging towards Tony Harrison.
And Tank Garcia was announced. We've got the press conference coming up later, or one of two press conferences coming up. Again, just your thoughts, please, on that fight.
Boss fights should be made. I'm glad it's made. But it's a fight I massively fancy Tank in, and I fancy him probably early.
You're the only one who said early, so do you just care to explain as to why?
I just think Tank hits too hard, catches him too early. Same way Luke Campbell caught him, and like, you know, Campbell not a big puncher. It was a solid hit at event towards as his career plays out. I think Tank's the biggest puncher pound for pound in boxing, and I just think he flattens him asleep. You know what I mean? I don't mean this in a bad way or like a, you know, evil way towards Ryan Garcia, like Ryan Garcia, but I rate Tank, and I think he's got scary power.
And just a final one, because we're coming up now, April 1st, Joshua Franklin, that's his Joshua team, with Derek James travelling back over. First fight since his back-to-back defeats to Alexander Usyk. A lot of people expect to see a demolition job on AJ's behalf. Are you of the same opinion?
Yeah, but I think I'm under the same opinion because I think Joshua's going to come out and try and do this. I think it's a mismatch in the fight. I think it's a kind of a good fight, as Franklin's just proved. But I think Joshua's out to get people talking about him again. You know, his name's dipped a little bit at the moment, and you know, you've got people saying this will beat him, that'll beat him. I think he'll be out to do a demolition job and get his name back on people's lips, and I feel he will make a statement.
El Bifo, it's a pleasure as always. I know you've got to shoot off for your physio now, so thank you for speaking to me, and I'll see you soon.
Sam, it's in a bit.